Hello everyone, my name is Temitokwe and I will be your host and your mentor in this journey to becoming a software developer. And so this is an introduction video that will put you on the track to becoming a software developer. So I believe that if you're watching this video, you are totally a newbie and you've not learned anything on software development. So what I want to do in this video is to explain some fundamentals to you and how we are going to go ahead to mentor you in this going forward. And I believe that in 6 months you should be able to become a software developer where you are creating particularly a web developer where you are creating uh, dynamic websites and you can earn a career. Also, you can decide to freelance and make a lot of money from this. Okay, so here's my Twitter handle in case you want to add me on Twitter. The username is at olu underscore Tayomi, and I am a software developer. I am a full stack developer and I work with .NET Core and Angular 6. And okay, so all right, and I also told you guys to kind of join a Slack channel. And what we'll be doing over a Slack is like a community, and what you are going to be doing is you are going to be posting all your journeys on the Slack so that everybody, one of us, will be able to follow up in your progress. And if you have a problem going through any of the resources that we post here, we are going to find a way to try to make sure we find solution to any problem you bring over here. So um, so the idea is that now the first instruction I told you after you have joined Slack is that you should come over to freecodecamp.com, and this is the resource that we'll be using. What I will be doing is to make sure I mentor you, put you on the right path to becoming a world-class developer. So if you come over to freecodecamp.org, what you need to do is to just sign up, and once you have signed up, you'll be able to do coding challenges, you're able to build projects, and you're able to get certification. So they have a curriculum that we are going to follow, and that curriculum is what is going to make you a professional software developer, so to speak. All right. So I'm going to load over this picture, and it's going to give us some kind of overview of what you are expected. So this is a kind of roadmap for you on how to become a software developer in 2019. Ignore the 2018. All right. So we have two parts here: the front end, the back end, and the DevOps. Okay, for now we are going to try kind of ignore DevOps for now, and we are going to be focusing on the front end and the back end. Now let me explain each of these concepts for you. So when you're talking about the front end, when you go to any website, you see how all these guys are layered, how your websites are layered, how everything you see here are layered. They basically form your front end. So there are some languages, computer programming languages, that you use to build the front end. and the front end is basically what you see. Okay, so if you're talking about the back end, you're talking about the actions that happens behind the scene that you're actually not seeing. That's why you have the back end. So because every one of these contents that you're seeing on the front end is actually stored somewhere that we call a database. It's a database, and so the idea is that there are languages that you use to store contents into a database. So backends basically contain the logic that your software does, and then the front end is just to bring it out and show it to the people. So the idea is that if I click on like, there's something that happens behind the scene, and we use backend services to write that, and that's the idea of backend. So when you're talking about front end, it's the development on what people see. So when you're talking about front end development, it's the development of what people see. Okay, and so for the front end development, there are building blocks for the front end development, and then that is what we call the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. These are very important for the front end development. So in this course, we will try as much as possible to first focus on the front end development. Once you understand the front end development, then going forward, we will now introduce the back end development with it. So what you'll be learning in the next 3 months are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML, it's HTML. When you start to learn it, you will understand what it means. But basically, when you see all these things, you see this one is bold. This word is different from this, and this has another color. This has, so basically it's what you makes it available on the screen here is HTML, and you'll be learning about that um, in a while, so I don't want to go through it, too much into it. And when you see CSS, it's actually what makes a website beautiful. So if a website is very beautiful, what makes a website different, what makes it beautiful, what makes it fanciful is CSS, and the full meaning is cascading style sheet, and it makes it's like a painter for your HTML. So your HTML is like the starting, it's like the framework of your website, and then the CSS is like the painter of your HTML. So imagine a house that's just built and you have not painted it. So the paint is the CSS, the house itself is the HTML. Okay, so then we go to the JavaScript, and JavaScript is a language that gives life. It kind of gives life to your HTML. So if you want to take an action, you want to, for example, sign up, you want something to happen on your HTML, use JavaScript. Okay, so once you already learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and once the most important of this one is the JavaScript himself, I think is the most important one, but then you can argue that once you already learned JavaScript, you can use that JavaScript to learn. You will learn a lot of framework. Once you learn JavaScript, you now choose a framework that you want to use. So you can decide to learn any of this. You can decide to learn Angular, you can decide to learn React, you can decide to learn Vue.js, you can decide to learn React. Okay, don't be scared of the names. they are not, they are just frameworks for JavaScript that you have learned here. So if you have learned JavaScript, you can easily pick up any of these frameworks and then understand the concept behind it, because each one of them has different concepts. So for the React, they have their own technologies that you just learn. For the Angular, they have their own technologies that you can learn. Okay, so for JavaScript too, you also be learning ES6. There are versions of JavaScript. Also, you'll be learning TypeScript, and because once you already know JavaScript, you'll be able to write TypeScript or ECMAScript. So those are not big deal. Also, you'll be learning testing, etc. So for the CSS, when you want to go deeper, for the CSS, you'll be learning different frameworks on CSS and blah 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 and blah. So it is not really a big deal on this, and that is how it is for the backend as well. For the backend, so your backend is what talks to your data. This exactly is what performs actions, perform algorithms on your data, and you can decide to learn Node.js as your backend, Python, PHP 7, Ruby, C#.net. You can see that when I showed you my profile, I showed you that I'm a .NET Core developer, C.NET, and also Angular 6. So I know a front-end language and I know a back-end language. So you can decide to learn C#. You can decide to use message brokers, and we'll be talking about that in a full. One of the things we'll focus on also is REST APIs and probably GraphQL. And also we'll talk about authentication, JWT, zero auth. They are not very big concepts. Forget all the names, they are so simple to do. Okay, so now that I've given you an introduction to that, so the idea is now for you is to go over to freecodecamp.org. Now you can see that we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 courses. So basically it's 6. So this is the web design certification, and this is where I want you to start with. Once you already know how to design your web, the next thing is to learn JavaScript. So according to the picture I showed you the other time that has HTML. Okay, so HTML CSS is basically the web design part, and then you have JavaScript. So once you already know how to design web, we will now go over to learning JavaScript. You see, you will learn JavaScript. Once you learn JavaScript, then you will take a front-end language that I showed you. You can decide, once you learn JavaScript, you now take any of a framework that you want to learn, and you can learn React. I recommend React that we will learn. You can also learn Bootstrap for your it's a framework for your web design. So what I want you to do is to start this web design certification. What you need to do is just click on the first topic there. So if I click on Introduction to Basic HTML, you'll be able to read, and you can go to the first lesson. So the way they did this learning concept is that you can easily write, you can learn, and at the same time you'll be typing whatever. They'll be giving a kind of challenge at the end of this each learning, and then you will See, for example, you see exactly what they are showing you. Once they teach you here, they will give you a test. Once you pass the test, you will be able to go to the next one. So this is the idea of the whole community. So imagine that you come over here and you can't get a test. Once you come over to our Slack channel, you post, you'll see a lot of people that is going to help you with that test. And that is a way to learn, read and do. So I want you to spend nothing less than 2 hours here every day and try to learn. And then after every day of learning, you'll come over to this Slack channel and you can come over to the web design uh, group, and then you will post what you have learned for that day. That way I'll be able to keep track of everything you are doing. Okay, I hope this is clear enough. I hope this video helps you in your goal. I hope that in 6 months I'll be able to export a lot of web developers here, and in future I'll be posting opportunities for web development jobs, web development gigs, so that you guys will learn and also make a lot of money of this. Alright, so this is the preview course for everything. This is an introduction course for a newbie into web development. I hope you'll be able to come through with this. I still remain Ajiboye Temitokbe Oluwatayomi. Join me on Twitter and see a couple of my tweets. Peace out. Bye, guys.